So what if I told you that you could replace your paycheck forever? And no, this isn't some crazy get-rich-quick scheme. It all comes down to understanding three really simple numbers. It's about a huge shift in how you think about money, moving from just earning it to actually owning something. Okay, let's dive in. The average American would rather look rich than actually be rich. Wow. I mean, that one idea really explains so much about why so many of us feel stuck financially, no matter how hard we work.
And this isn't just some theory either. Just look at this number, $767. That's the average monthly payment for a new car in America. Now think about this. A lot of those same people don't even have $1,000 saved up for an emergency. We're choosing to look rich instead of actually building the foundation to be rich.
So how do we flip that script? Well, that's what this is all about. We're going to walk through a really clear roadmap. First, we'll talk about the paycheck trap. Then, we'll introduce a much better way, the profit mindset. After that, I'll give you a super simple system called the 75-15-10 rule, show you how to invest your money, and finally, lay out your path to profit.
All right, first things first, the paycheck trap. We have to really understand the problem before we can solve it. And the problem is the very thing we're all taught to chase our entire lives. You know the drill, right? Go to school, get a good job, earn a nice big salary. It's been drilled into our heads forever. But here's the thing. This is a trap. Working for a paycheck is a system designed for earning, which is great for paying the bills, but it is not a system designed for building real, lasting wealth. So if the paycheck is the trap, what's the escape hatch? Well, it's a simple but really profound shift in thinking. See, wealthy people don't work for a paycheck. They work for a totally different P. They work for profit.
Okay, just look at the difference here. This slide lays it all out so clearly. On one side, you've got the paycheck. That means you have to work to get paid. You're trading your time for dollars. No work, no money. Simple as that. And there's always a ceiling, right? A cap on what you can make. But then you look at working for profit. Your money, your assets, they start working for you. You literally get paid while you're sleeping. And get this, there's no limit to how much you can earn. And the cherry on top, you often pay way lower tax rates on that money. It's a completely different game. So how do you actually get a piece of this profit pie? Well, there are basically three ways. One, you can build a business. That's super powerful, but let's be real, it's not for everyone. Two, you could work for a company that offers profit sharing or stock options. That's great if you can find it. But the third option, that's the one that's accessible to absolutely everybody. You use your money to buy access to the profits of other businesses. And that, my friends, is all investing is. And this leads us to the heart of it all, the practical, actionable part of this whole idea. The 75-15-10 rule. This is the simple, repeatable system you can use to get the money you need to go out and buy those profits. And here it is, the 75-15-10 rule. It is so elegant in its simplicity. From this day forward, for every single dollar you earn, this is where it goes. 75 cents is the absolute maximum you're allowed to spend. 15 cents is the minimum you must invest, and 10 cents is the minimum you save. That's it. Now, the key here, the most crucial part, is that you have to make this system automatic. This is not about willpower, it's about setting up a system. You open 3 separate bank accounts, one for spending, one for saving, and one for investing. The second you get paid, boom, 15% automatically goes to your investment account, and 10% goes to your savings. You just learn to live off what's left. It makes the whole process effortless. All right, I know what you're probably thinking. Live on only 75% of my income? No way! And that's what almost everyone says at first. Think about it. If the government suddenly raised your taxes by 25% tomorrow, what would you do? You'd probably complain a lot for sure, but you'd figure it out. You'd make it work. Well, think of this as a tax too. The difference is this tax isn't going to the government. This is a tax you pay yourself to make yourself rich.
And what about that 10% for savings? That has a very specific job, to build your emergency fund. This is your financial safety net, right? Enough to cover 3 to 12 months of your essential living expenses. And once that bucket is full, you just stop putting money in it. And that 10% can now go straight into your investing bucket, which just speeds up your whole journey to profit.
Okay, so your system is up and running. Your emergency fund is getting built up, and that investment account is starting to grow. This leads to the question everybody asks, what do I actually do with that 15%?
Exactly. This is the big one, because it's one thing to save the money, but it's a whole other thing to know how to put it to work so it actually grows. There are endless options out there, but the key is to start simple and, most importantly, think long-term.
Before we even get into options, we need the right mindset.
And this slide just illustrates the difference perfectly. Someone thinking in terms of 10 days, that's a trader, chasing hot tips and quick flips. 10 months, that's a speculator, basically making bets. Real, lasting wealth is built by an investor, someone whose timeline is 10 years, 20 years, even decades.
So, with that long-term investor mindset locked in, where do you start? Well, good news. You don't have to become some stock-picking genius overnight. The single most accessible starting point for pretty much everyone is something called passive investing, usually through what's known as an ETF, or an exchange-traded fund. Just think of an ETF as a big basket that holds hundreds or even thousands of different stocks all at once. So instead of trying to find the one needle in the haystack, the next big thing, you just buy the whole haystack. For example, an ETF like VTI gives you a tiny piece of the entire US stock market. SPY lets you own the 500 biggest companies. QQQ focuses on the 100 largest tech companies. It's just diversification made incredibly simple.
You know, one of the absolute best parts of owning pieces of these huge companies is that many of them share their profits directly with you, their owners, and this is called a dividend. So when a company like McDonald's makes billions in profit, they can put it back into the business, they can save it, or they can give some of it back to their owners. That dividend is your share of the profit, and it gets deposited right into your account. That's the cash flow from your profit machine.
So what's the master strategy here? It's almost laughably simple, but so powerful. Always be buying. ABB. You just set up an automatic investment for every week or every month, and it just happens, whether the market is flying high or crashing down or going sideways. When the market is up, you buy. When it's down, hey, great, you're buying more shares on sale. You completely take your emotions out of the equation and just consistently, automatically buy more ownership. Okay, let's pull all of these pieces together now. We've talked about the trap, we've introduced the new mindset, and we've laid out the entire system. Now it's time to talk about your path to profit and the choice you have to make.
So if there's one thing you take away from all this, let it be this. The 75-15-10 rule is not a restrictive budget. It's not about making you feel deprived. It's a proactive system for consistently and automatically buying ownership in businesses. It's the engine that's going to turn your paycheck into a machine that generates profit.
And really, that's what it all boils down to. You can keep going down the same old path, trading your time for a paycheck for the rest of your life, or you can make a different choice, the choice to build a system, to pay yourself first, and to become an owner. At the end of the day, the choice is yours. Will you work for a paycheck, or will you build a system for profit?